Hello, welcome back to Paul's Stuff. This is my space on YouTube where I get to talk about all the things I love. Lots of Star Wars, lots of lightsabers. But today's not lightsabers. Today is a continuing series of videos that I'm doing on my Black Series 6-inch figure collection. And today we're going to begin having a look at my figures from the Mandalorian series. It'll be split into two parts because doing it in one video would be just too long. So we're going to have a look at the first half of my collection today. And we're going to start off with the off-world Jawas. So we see these little fellas in season 1. They differ from the original Jawas in terms of being a little bit more grey in colour, and they have red eyes. But these are in fact made on the original Jawa moulds. This one is straight out of the box. They differ from the original Jawa in terms of the cloak being soft goods. The original Jawa that came in the Black Series is brown, obviously, and they have a soft plastic moulded cape. These have a cloth version, which actually I think I prefer over the moulded one. So these are the off-world Jawas. They come with a couple of blasters. If we have a look at the other one here, we can see he's got the alternative blaster. This is a version of the blaster that we see on Jawas from the prequels, I believe. And what I've also done with this one is I've played about with the bandoliers a little bit. It's not particularly easy to do, but I've removed some bits and reversed it. So if we look at the front of the bandolier on this one, you can see that's on the back of this one. Just to make them a little bit different from one another. Jawa's one of my favourite characters, so when I saw this new Jawa was coming out, I had to get a couple of them. So that's the off-world Jawas. I'll pop them towards the back. And next up, we have Quil. And this, again, it's Black Series and Aliens, isn't it? Quil is, I think, the first Ugnaught that we've had in the Black Series. And what a superb little figure. Got his backpack there, his blaster. Just beautiful, beautiful detail on this figure. If we have a look at his head sculpt. Great looking head sculpt for Quil. And look at the detail in this figure, the belt buckle, the arm braces, that lovely blaster. Just lots and lots of detail in here. Could possibly have had a little bit more detail paint, but that is what it is, really. So there we go, that's Quil. Next up is the Cara Dune figure, which of course came with all of the controversy of Gina Carano being sacked by Disney for things that she said on social media, and yeah, consequently figures of her character being, I think, being dropped from the line, and subsequently becoming rare and one of the most expensive figures to try and get hold of. It is a lovely figure. Comes with that amazing blaster cannon. Not bad face sculpt either. And so the details there. Try and get the camera to focus on it for you. The details there. Also came with a blaster pistol, which is done very nicely, and the little boot knife as well. So all in all, a fantastic figure. Overshadowed by its notoriety, really, I guess, really. Right, moving on. We have IG-11. So this is, I think this was, well, it was one of those American store exclusives. I think it was a Target exclusive or something like that. It is largely just a repaint of the original IG-88 figure. That's okay. There are some differences between the two characters. The paint on this is really nice. They've done again, I think, you know, a reasonable job with an original mold that isn't great. The bandolier is nice. See all the detail on there. The paint on the legs is nice. It's a nice figure. It's always going to have the faults that the Black Series IG droid mold has. We know it's probably too short. It's probably too skinny. There are options that are more screen accurate that are out there and more to scale. But I collect the Black Series, and this is the Black Series IG-11, so I have this one. I love this. This is how this figure sits on my shelf. So action poses with this figure, yeah, absolutely, you can. The legs can be problematic. They're very thin. They can be prone to warping in the packages, both on this and the IG-88. But you can get them to stand reasonably well, and you can get a reasonably nice action pose out of them. So that's IG-11. Next, we're going to move on to Griefcarer, and this is the original Griefcarer that came out in the series, in the range from Black Series. I can't remember the exact naming on this one. It's Griefcarer from Navarro in season 1 when he's the head of the Bounty Hunters Guild. Another nice figure. Photoreal head sculpt, photoreal head paint, head sculpt of Carl Weathers. Not great, but it kind of resembles Carl Weathers, the actor that plays Grief. Directs some of the episodes as well, I believe. Comes with his 2 blasters. Comes with the over-the-shoulder cape, which is nice. They decided to do that as a moulded part rather than soft goods, which I think is probably the right choice on this figure. Another nice figure to go in the Mandalorian range. Next up, we've got a couple of figures that, strictly speaking, aren't from the Mandalorian. These are archive re-releases of the Tusken Raider, but if you know the channel, you kind of know the Tusken Raider is Tusken Raiders are one of my favourite characters, and yeah, we see them in season 2, and so I got a couple of archive Tusken Raiders, and they sit on my shelf with the rest of my Mandalorian figures. So these are they. The Tusken Raiders are the original Tusken Raiders that the Black Series do. I know there are some more coming out, which are the variants from the Book of Boba Fett. But this original Tusken Raider mould came with a gaffy stick that had alternative ends. So if you've watched my A New Hope collection videos, then you'll see that this gaffy stick has a different end to the Tusken in there. And they also come with the blaster rifle. So one of these has the blaster rifle as well. Now that's the Tusken Raiders. Just going to pop them on this end of the line. There we go. And now we're going to come on to the smallest figure in the Mandalorian range. The smallest, one of the smallest figures, if not the smallest figure in the whole of the Black Series. And that's the original release of Grogu. And he's so small, I'm going to have to hold him up, I think, to show you him properly. He is tiny. Has articulated arms. That's about it. He is literally a small chunk of plastic with some paint on it. I find it amazing that this was sold as a figure in its own right. I think this should really have just been included with one or several of the other figures. It really is almost like accessory sized. It's crazy. Or you needed to put more with it in the box when you sold it, which they did subsequently with the Mando in the pram. Did come with some accessories, so he has his little gear knob, his bowl and a froggy, and yeah, these these stay in the box for me because they're so small. They are absolutely going to get lost if they come out of that. That's the child as we knew him when that figure came out, now known as Grogu, obviously. Next up we have Mando in his original costume from season 1. This is probably my favourite look for Mando. I like the Beskar, but I think I like this sort of thrown together scrap armour look even more. Now this comes with a moulded cape. So I swapped that out for a custom cloth goods cape. I'll leave a link in the description to where the cape that I got came from. It is wired along the edges, so you can sculpt it into whatever shape you want. Accessory wise, he came with his little tracker, his Mimban blaster, his blaster rifle, and his blaster pistol. Really nice sculpting. This one of course has a fixed head. There's no removable helmet with this figure. But yeah, this is my favourite Mando look, I think. So that's the Mandalorian from the early part of season 1. Next up we have the Armourer. So this is another great figure. Again, these armoured figures, droids, aliens, all really good in the Black Series, I think. This figure came in this is the standard version of this figure. There was also I believe a convention exclusive one that came with a soft goods fur cape and some extra tools that were looking like they were hot and glowing. I wasn't prepared to pay the extra for the exclusive one, and to be honest, I think I prefer the moulded fur on this figure to the soft goods that we got on the other one. It looks okay, but it's not as good as the fur soft goods can get on things like the Range Trooper and the Gamorrean Guard. So I think I prefer the moulded plastic on this one. Next up is Zero, and again, Zero's a season 1 character. We see him in the breakout from the New Republic prison barge. He's the droid that is part of the crew that do the breakout. Ever so often I buy a figure because the price is good rather than because I like it. I don't dislike this figure, but the primary reason I bought it is because the price was really good on it. This was well under £10 when I bought it. Again, alien droid head sculpt, excellent. Lots of nice detail, some reasonable detail painting. Could have possibly had a little bit more, but yeah, overall not a bad figure, and especially when you can pick him up reasonably cheaply. A figure that I didn't pick up cheaply and I paid retail for as soon as it came out, Bo-Katan Craze. Mandalorian figures that Black Series do, in Mandalorian costumes, really good now, and this is no exception. So she comes with her little jetpack, pair of blaster pistols, removable helmet, really nice sculpting all round, nice paint apps, really nicely done. The helmet is particularly nice, and the head sculpt of Katie Sackhoff, who plays Bo-Katan in the live action series. Not a bad likeness, and again the photo reel enhances that. All in all, another really nice figure, and one that I wasn't going to wait and see what happened to the price on. I bought her as soon as she came out. And then last up for today we have the Client, played by Werner Herzog in the series. Again, this is another figure that I picked up actually fairly recently for, again, under £10. It's a nice figure. It's well done. The sculpting is good. The head sculpt isn't bad. Not the best I've seen, but it's not bad. has the Cantono as an accessory. That was as much a draw for me as anything else. And also comes with 2 little stacks of Beskar and another tracking fob, which is actually in the Cantono at the moment. As you can see, can hold the Cantono, and the Cantono does open. All 3 sides of that flap down. Nice detailing in the costume. The head sculpt, I think, is a fair representation of the actor. And again, the photo reel helps lift it a little bit. Not super accurate, but reasonable. And so that's the first half of my Black Series Mandalorian figures, or figures from the Mandalorian show. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please do give it a like. Tap that little thumbs up button. That lets YouTube know that you enjoyed the video. Sorry, just trying to get these guys in frame for you a little bit more. There we go. So yeah, if you liked the video, then please give it a like. If you like the content, then consider subscribing to the channel. All of these things help YouTube to know that people are liking my videos and push them more, which for me is just about getting them out to more people. Hopefully you have enjoyed the video today. That's all there is for today. There will be a second part to this with the rest of the figures that I have from the Mandalorian. But for now, this just leaves me to say cheerio.